Twins fans infuriated. Carlos Correa is back from injury. You think that would be good news, but the associated move with that was that Royce Lewis was sent back to AAA. He hit 308, Ron, in his 11 games with the Twins, and they can't find a spot for him in the outfield, at first base, at DH. They send him back to AAA. Fans very upset. What are your thoughts?
Deal with it. This is the thing, though. Here's the thing about baseball, man. Honestly, like, coaches do things for a reason. And so whether they like the Correa matchup, they think Royce Lewis might have been just, maybe they don't think it's sustainable at where he's at. But again, I think you should try it. But at the same time, I'm always going to trust a coach. Like, I think coaches, they have to live with their decisions after the fact. Then we can look back and say, man, that was a dumb decision. But starting out early, the thing is, like, yeah, we're going to bring Carlos Correa back. This is kind of the easy move to get him back. And so it's not like it's a death sentence. He's not off the team. They just send him back to AAA. And I don't know the rules on that. Is it 10 games he has to stay down, or what is it? Or can they bring him back up anytime?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. I think that if there's not an injury or illness, then they would have to wait a certain amount of games to bring him back. But
Right.
if someone got hurt, then I think they'd be allowed to bring him back right away.
Right. And so when you look at the Twins, 22-16 right now on an absolute tear, 13-8 at home, 9-8 on the road. The last 10, though, and I always talk about those last 10 games, they're 5-5. And so when you think about the Twins and who they have coming up, you look at what's going to happen next. I mean, when you look at the Guardians, when we talk about the Royals, we talk about the Tigers. All below them, 16-18, 14-22, and 13-25 on the lowly Detroit Tigers. And so I just think, fans, let's just ride this out. Let's just see what happens when he brings Correa back up. That's the star. That's the guy we all wanted. That's the guy getting paid a ton of money. That's the decision that matters. Getting him back up there. Hopefully, you don't see a Buxton injury that has to get, Royce Lewis back up. I know that, like I said, there's talk of him making it through an entire game, 14-4, and no injury, where people are like, man, you should have pulled him, like, because we're winning. It only takes one, like, toe to hit the wall or him to do something crazy and go after a ball that does not matter when you're up 14-4 and he's out, or he just sprints too hard because he didn't warm up well enough. People are blaming the short spring, that they didn't have enough spring training, and that's why there's some injuries out there with the Twins, but nobody else is getting hurt. Like, the Yankees aren't having guys get hurt. It's just the Minnesota thing. The Astros don't have guys just falling like flies. I just think we love to find ways to play victim in Minnesota, and that's one of them. We're gonna blame spring training on Buxton and Correa's injuries. No, it's just bad luck. It's just what happens. That's why you got to hope when it comes to this Viking season that they get it going and don't come up with injuries. But no, I'm fine with it. Let's see these next 10. You got the Tigers 5-game stretch in there. Let's see what they look like with this group they put together now.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the angst. I think people want to see a good player on the field for the major league team, and there are some guys that aren't hitting very well for the Twins right now.
Yep.
Jose Miranda, who they called up, I don't think he's even hitting 100. So to send someone down who is being productive, I get the frustration. I also understand that he's 22 years old, I think, maybe 23, and they want him to get at-bats every day and play his natural position.
Yeah.
Vikings talk, Ron.
Mm-hmm.
We posted a clip on our YouTube channel of Za'Darius Smith talking about his friendship with Danielle Hunter. Those two were seen on the sideline playing catch with each other during warm-ups, kind of really seeming like a tandem already. They're already super tight. How many sacks do you think Za'Darius Smith and Danielle Hunter combine for this year, Ron?
Yeah, every time I see them together, I hear that song in my head. People, let me tell you about my best friend. I mean, like, it's cool to see. I think Za'Darius Smith, for him, it's a new era. It's a breath of fresh air. When you get to go somewhere new and you kind of just get to reinvent yourself, you become a new type of weapon leader in that locker room. But together, this is the key in this 3-4. If you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, I always go back to the Steelers because I think that's one of the best 3-4s I've seen as far as disguising who's going to rush. 9 times out of 10, we know TJ Watt's coming. But they do disguise, and he does drop back and cover, space. He does run with the crossing route every once in a while when it's a running back or tight end. But TJ Watt's coming. So that's going to be Danielle Hunter. He's going to go. Za'Darius Smith is going to try to go as well. Danielle might go from the 5. He might come from standing up. He might loop. But together, if I want to see them on the same side every once in a while too. Put Danielle at the 5 on the same side as Za'Darius. Bring in Brian Asamoah and let him play outside, spy. I think they can get – I'm going to be a little bullish, but I think they can get minimum. I think minimum has got to be 15 combined. I think 15 combined sacks is on the low end where that's each getting 7.5. I don't think that's going to be hard to get. I don't think that should be a high goal to get. I might look back on this and be like, man, I was way too, I went way too out on a limb on them. But both of them in their healthy times are absolute monsters as far as just frustrating quarterbacks and offensive linemen and all the spin moves and all that, like Danielle with that stutter high kick step and then the spin and the whip and then he kind of does the pull where he grabs and throws the guys by because his arms are so long and strong. So yeah, I don't think 15 is a lot. That's where I think they can get.
I mean, I think they can go higher if healthy. I mean, if you look at their career numbers, started games for Za'Darius, 48, total sacks, 44.5. So he's about a sack per start. Danielle Hunter's right there too, 56 starts, 60.5 sacks. So if they're healthy, both starting for 17 games, that's 34 combined games. I feel like 30 is the number if they're healthy. That's the bigger question to me. If they are,
is a lot.
If they are both healthy, I think that they can attain 30. That's the limb I'm going out on. Now,
okay.
I think it's a limb to say they're both going to be healthy because they're both coming off injuries. So maybe the number is more like 22. But I think if they're on the field for 17 games, why can't they get 30?
Maybe I'm with you on that. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot.
I'm bullish. I know. Yeah, it is. But hey, we make bold statements.
They might do it
show.
though. Yeah, they might do it.
Ryan Day, Ohio State football coach, has received an extension through 2028. He will be paid, Ron. I think it's just shy of your salary here on Locked On, $9.5 million per year. So
just a little shy.
I ask you this. Do you believe that Ryan Day is truly the best coach in the Big Ten, or does he just benefit from the great recruiting ground at Ohio State?
The great recruiting ground. Nothing against Ryan Day. I think he's a great coach. But he definitely has an embarrassment of riches. Glenn Mason used to always say this: don't stand on third base and assume you hit the triple. I've seen, in my daughter's softball, I've seen parents literally post that their daughter got a triple or a double today. And then when you actually see the play, it's a ground ball to the pitcher. Pitcher throws it over the first baseman's head. Second baseman throws it over, or first baseman throws it over second base's head, and then the girl gets the third, and the mom's celebrating like she got a triple. No, she got a single on errors, and then she got to third base on 2 more errors because even the single should have been out because it was to the pitcher. So I've seen that, and that's what I feel like. Don't stand on third base and assume you did this work. Ohio State started doing this work. Unfortunately, I mean, I don't have a problem with his coaching, just some of his antics, but Urban Meyer came out of Florida and kind of got the ball rolling. Ohio State in the history, though, has always had the Eddie Georges and the Joey Galloways, the David Bostons. They've always had greatness at Ohio State. That's the reason why they call themselves the Ohio State. So no, I'm not going to say Ryan Day is the best coach. I want to say that Gophers fans need to relax and realize PJ only makes $5.1 million. And so 9.5, a lot of the media members in Minnesota will lose their absolute minds, especially because they keep trying to bring up the fact that certain sports were canceled and then coaches are getting extensions, not realizing hey, it was a pandemic. Coaches were giving money back. But yeah, PJ's only making 5.1. I think PJ's just as good as Ryan Day. You look at what he does with what he has. That's like going and sit down and having a meal. And one guy gets prime rib, he gets filet mignon, he gets scalloped potatoes, he gets the carrots, the broccoli, he gets all that. And the other guy gets hey, here's some beef. And here's a couple potatoes, and hey, both of you go make a meal. Well, one guy's going to make a great meal just because of the ingredients he has. Like, it's going to be like you can overcook the steak and people are still going to be like, oh man, this is not bad. This is pretty good. So, it's good enough to get there. Whereas PJ can take some hamburger and potatoes and turn it into an awesome gourmet like souffle or something. Like I think you look at the ingredients of the two, and I'm going to put PJ Fleck ahead of Ryan Day. I just think he does more with less. And that's truly because when you look at the recruiting, the NILs, Ohio State is, a lot of people, they were already paying Terrell Pryor and Maurice Claret before. They had NILs at Ohio State before it was legal. And so they were getting, they were doing stuff they were getting tattoos for jerseys and signing autographs for cars. So they already had NILs at Ohio State. And so now it's just legal. And so they're taking advantage of it. I think Gopher fans need to, we got too many Fortune 500 and CEOs in the state to not be killing the NIL recruitment, and I think, tag everybody, tag Best Buy in this, podcast, tag Target, tag whoever you want, tag, General Mills, tag them all, Land O'Lakes. It's got to be some NIL money for these players that we can put together and go out and go recruit some high school kids that you guys really want to see in the state of Minnesota that are on their target list as a power, a star, 4-star, 5-star. And if we do that, PJ Fleck's for sure the number one coach in the Big Ten. But I think I think him and Day are, I think they're pretty even. It's just Day's ingredients, man. Like he gets it's easy to recruit at Ohio State. And that's where I think it is. But he's, what? I'm never gonna hate on anybody getting money. Go get your money, man. Great for you. There's no salary cap in college, so hey, go do it.
Yeah, hats off to him for doing what he should be doing at Ohio State, which is winning like a lot of games every year. And I think he's kind of lived up to he's definitely not in Urban Meyer's shadow anymore. Whereas I think, Jim Harbaugh, who's another big name coach, I don't know if he's quite lived up to the expectations at Michigan until last year. They had been in Ohio State's shadow. So it is really about what you're given. Pat Fitzgerald, some years, might be considered the best coach in the Big Ten with what he does at a small school in Northwestern without a lot of a big fan base.